Hi, good day. This is Marcus Alexander, and welcome to today's video. Today, we're going to look at the software development tools that we'll be using for building our project. So we're going to start with XAMPP, which is basically a package that consists of a server, PHP, which is the language we use to code in our website. It consists of database administration tools for you to set up the database in the background, as well as the environment for running your website. All right. So let's go to our browser. Type. Oh, by the way, links will be provided in the description of the video. I'm just demonstrating. So I'm going to XAMPP. So here's the download link. Of course, if you're running Windows, click the Windows version. If you're using an OS, click this version. If you have a Mac, of course, right? So if you click that, it will download. I download mine already. You download it, install it. You don't need to change anything. Just install it and leave it. Next thing I'm going to download is Eclipse. So I'm going to Eclipse website. All right, so this is the home page. I'm going to click download here. Now I could have clicked this button, which would have downloaded our executable file, but I don't need that. I'm going to choose a specific version. There are actually different versions of Eclipse, but I want to choose the specific one. This would have give you the option of choosing which one, but I'm going to the specific one. So I'm clicking download packages. I'm looking for PHP. Now be careful, because while I was just testing this out, I accidentally downloaded the wrong version. So here we go, Eclipse for PHP developers. And there's two versions, 32 and 64 bits. And for those who don't know, you can right click here, system, and you'll see that my machine is a 64-bit as seen here. Or you can open File Explorer and we can right click on this PC, properties, and once again it shows that I have a 64-bit. So I would click this one for me in my case and download. Once again, please make sure you have the 64-bit, right? So this will download a zip file. Of course, the name of the zip file also has PHP. So you double click it and you simply drag and drop it outside here, right? I have it here already. So to basically just copy the files here, that's up. So Eclipse is just basically a folder with all the files you run in Eclipse. Of course, it's just this you're running, but don't open it as yet. In addition to Eclipse, we're gonna download an alternative software for typing our codes. It's called Sublime. I'm going to use this a lot. All right, I'll discuss why the difference between Eclipse and Sublime shortly, but let's go to these sites, Sublime, and I click download, and of course it download it for me, right? So that's it. So we have XAMPP, Eclipse, and Sublime. Before we go into Eclipse and Sublime, let's set up, we might have to make some configurations for XAMPP, right? So let's run it. I have mine installed already once again. Now, try clicking start here and here. The green indicates that it's working, but this one is not working. Now, there's a possibility it may work for yours. Now, this is using a port called 80, well, port 80, and there's an probably another software on my machine, probably Skype or something else like the system that's using the same port number that's preventing this from starting. Now, ports are a bit of a technical term, but we don't need to get into it. We just need to know we need to change our port number. So even if it works or not, I recommend you do it still. So I'm going to stop this. So both of them is not running. So for Apache, I'm going to click config, and I'm selecting this one, Apache httpd.config, and I'm going to look for some called listen. There we go. So therefore it's listening to for port 80. I'm going to change this to port 8012, which is just a random port. Once again, we're not going into these technical terms, all right? So I close that and I save and I start it back again. There we go. It looks like it's running. Now, because we changed the port, we will have to access some sites a little. Well, you have to keep in mind that port number we use, right? 8012. And I'll talk about that shortly. But let's talk about the directory for where our projects are going to be stored. So, very important, all of your projects are going to be stored in on your C drive, XAMPP or MAMP and htdoc. So let's visit the actual directory. So I'm going to open File Explorer again. I'm going to this PC, C drive, XAMPP. Of course, if you have MAMP, you'll probably have a MAMP folder. Then we're looking for htdocs. See? And basically any folder in here it will be assumed it's a project. Right? So I have a bunch of them. Yours should be empty. I have a bunch of projects in here. These are from previous semesters and classes and stuff like that. So don't be worried about that. One quick note, if by chance you are using XAMPP as you're following in this video, there's a file called index. Well, it should probably be like this, index, right? Could you either right click and delete it, or in my case, I'm just going to rename it to index1. I'll talk about that shortly as well, right? So once again, please either delete this or rename this. Next important thing is, once again, what XAMPP does. One of the things XAMPP does is acts as a server, and this allows you to run your web page and view it. Normally, in an HTML file, you can just double click it and you see the web page, but you can't double click a PHP file and run it. It has to be run through a server that has PHP, of course. So let's see how we're going to run. Normally, you go to your browser and you type localhost. But that's not going to work because we just recently changed our port number. So I need to type localhost colon, that's the dot 8012. And this now is going to show me all the folders in the htdocs. So once again, the htdocs folder consists of all our projects, and a project is just basically a folder with a bunch of PHP files in it, or maybe other files as well. We're going to create our project shortly, right? But just keep in mind, once again, our directory for storing our project is C, XAMPP, and htdocs. All right, let's actually create our project in Eclipse. So let's open Eclipse. Now, Eclipse is going to ask me about our workspace. So basically, oh, by the way, yours will not look like this, right? You'll probably see something else. But basically, the workspace is the folder where your projects are stored, or where you plan to store your projects. So we're going to click browse, and because we know that all of our projects are going to be stored in this directory, let's tell Eclipse that our workspace is my C drive, XAMPP, and then htdocs, and I click OK. See, so work for Eclipse will know that all of my projects are going to be stored in here. I have a bunch of them there already, but it doesn't load them automatically, so that's not really important. So I'm going to launch, and we're going to create our first project. Now, for those of you who are doing web scripting, most likely you're going to be forced to use Eclipse throughout the semester. To be honest, and to some extent, it's not really necessary. There's only one very important thing you need to do with Eclipse, and it's called version control. I'm not going to discuss it in this video, but the truth is I don't need Eclipse to build a project, right? I need it for one important thing, which web scripting students are forced to do. And for IT projects, for the IT and CS project, you're not forced to do it, but you are supposed to. They don't tell you that, but you're supposed to do it, right? So I'm going to create my project, my actual project that I'm going to use throughout the semester. So I'm going to click File, New, PHP project. I'm going to name mine Final Project 2018. I don't need to change anything here. Just make sure it's on, well, by default, create new project and workspace and all that, right? So I'm not changing anything. Let's click Finish. And the truth is, our project is just a folder, right? Now, it created some extra stuff in it, but our project is really just a folder with some files. So let's create our first file. I'm going to right click, new, PHP file, and the file must end with .php, as you see here, right? So even if you take it off, just remember it must end with .php. I'm going to call this file home.php. Now, when we try to run a page, way how servers work, when you have a bunch of a folder with a bunch of pages in it, by default it looks for a page called index.php or default.php. But we're not going to create an index or default.php page because we don't want our site to automatically work. And I'll show you about that shortly, right? So I'm going to create a page called home.php. I click finish. I'm going to remove the PHP tags that I'm seeing, and I'm just going to type hello, close it and save it. So there we go. I create my first project. I create a file called home.php. Let's view the actual file, right? One quick thing, I'm not sure if I mentioned it just now. I have a bit of chicken brain shortly, but once again, if you have an index file in your C, XAMPP, htdocs, either delete it or rename it, right? Um, so let's view our actual page. By the way, let me show you what happens if you didn't rename it, right? Let's leave it. And let's type localhost 8012, and it loads our web page. What is this page? Well, by default, it looks for index.php page, and because there is one, it's actually loading this by default. I don't want it to load this page. So what happens if it cannot find that page? Well, instead, it will show you. So I'm going back to type localhost colon 8012. Instead, since it cannot find our index or default.php page, it instead shows me all the files in my htdocs folder. So there's no index file to load automatically. So now I, the student, have the option of choosing which folder I like to open, like my final project, final project 2018 folder. I'm going to open this, and I now have the option, I have the option of loading any page, but there's only one page in here, so it loads. Wow. Let me try this back, right? Hold on. Let me change this to, could I rename this? Actually, let's create a new page. Let's create a page called About Us. So PHP about.php, finish, and I don't need that. I'm going back here, go back to my folder. Oh, it loaded home page by default. Wow. Okay, I guess home is a keyword it tries to recognize. Let's refactor this. Let's rename it. So we're gonna right click this home page, refactor. I just saw it there. Right click. I'm pretty sure I just saw this here, right? Wow. Oh, there we go. Sorry, I'm kind of blind. I'm going to rename this to homepage.php. Apparently, the word home is also a default word. Preview and OK. I don't want it to load my page automatically. I'll show you why. There we go. Since it cannot find a page to load, it shows me all the pages, and now I have the option of choosing which page I want to run. I think that's a little convenient for students. Now, once again, I'm going back and do this. I'm going to type localhost colon 8012. This shows me all the folders I have. Or you could have just typed the full one slash the name of the folder you want to load, but we don't need to go through all this. I could have typed the name of the folder followed by the page I want to load, right? But I don't need to do that. I could just navigate to it. So I'm localhost 8012. I go to the folder. I go to the page I want to load, and there we go. All right, so we just we set up XAMPP, we configure it, we open Eclipse, we created a project, we created our file. Now here's a reason why I don't like Eclipse, right? There's only one good thing, and it has some autocomplete when you do PHP. You don't need to type this. Once again, please don't type this, right? I'm going to show you something. I'm going to put PHP tags, and it could auto complete some stuff for me. So I can type FNC, and I can select this, and it creates a function for me. Or I could type if, and I could create a if statement. Now, so to some extent, it auto completes our PHP codes, but the truth is the PHP codes aren't really a problem. I prefer to auto complete HTML codes, which is just cannot do. Well, maybe it can. There's some plugins to make it help you, but I'm not familiar with the plugins to help. There's some called WDP, WDT, I forgot. Some web development tools, or WDT then, that will auto-complete my HTML codes, but I wasn't able to get the PHP and HTML to work together. But long story short, look what I can do with Sublime. So I'm going to forget Eclipse. I'm just going to close all this. Yep. And I'm going to open Sublime. Now, your directory might look different, but with Sublime, we need to tell it which folder we would like to open. So I could click File, Open Folder, and instead of going directly to my project, I want to open maybe htdocs, which will show me all the files in htdocs. Or maybe if you just want to open your project alone, which I don't find so useful, maybe you might be creating more than one project, maybe you might have 3 projects. So instead I'm going to localhost, well, localdisk, XAMPP, and I could choose a folder to open. Once again, I could go to htdocs and open a particular folder, but I prefer to open the htdocs, right? So I'm going to select local disk, XAMPP, htdocs, and from now on, this will show me all the folders in my htdocs. As you can see, I have more than one projects, so that's convenient for me. So if I need to edit codes in a different project, I can look at it here. Now, why do I prefer Sublime? Well, let's open our project. Where is it? Project 20. What was it? Oh, final project. My apologies. Right? Let's type PHP and watch what happens with this autocomplete. A very useful feature. I could type PHP and press tab on my keyboard, and it creates the tags for me. I could also type. I don't think I could type. Oh yeah, I could type function. Oh no. No, but this has a lot of more autocompletes. But this thing, Eclipse lacks something very important that I prefer. So HTML has a bunch of tags, and a tag is basically a keyword enclosed within these angle brackets. And I could type input and press tab, and it creates the tag and the additional codes for me. See, just by typing the word HTML and press tab, it creates the necessary tags for an HTML page. And I find that Eclipse lack that very important feature. I guess maybe there are plugins to install to make it work, but I'm not familiar with it, and I don't have the time to go through that. I prefer Sublime, it's much easier, and the color coding makes things pretty easy for me. So I can go to preference, theme, no, is it theme? Color scheme. Oh, they update this. I forgot which color scheme I'm doing, but no, I didn't need to do that. No, I have to change that after. Anyway, I'll just play along, right? So I love these autocomplete features in Sublime, so I am going to use it a lot. So I can say stuff like form tab. I'm just pressing a keyword and tabs, and look how much tags I'm seeing so far. Normally you have to type this yourself or copy and paste it yourself in Eclipse. So input. Of course, please don't type what I'm doing, right? I'm just demonstrating something. So there are the features that I really love in Sublime, and I use it a lot. Once again, you could use Eclipse. There is one and only one important feature we need to use in Eclipse. I'm not going to cover it in this video, but there's only one feature. That's why we install it in the first place, right? But other than that, we covered installing XAMPP, talk about the directory, we talk about running our website. Oh, I should have run our website in Eclipse. I don't like running it in Eclipse. It's a bit buggy sometimes. And but let's test it just for the sake, right? Of course, maybe you'll be shown how to, by the way, this pops up every time and I leave it, right? I like when it keeps asking me. And what else we lacking? I think that's it for this video. So let's run the website, the web page in Eclipse. But once again, I don't like using Eclipse, right? I prefer Sublime. So once again, my project is open again. And I'm just going to open my project here. I'm going to right click here. And I'm going to click Run as PHP web application. Now it tries to, this is the link. Once again, as you can see, it used localhost, which is my machine. But there's an issue with this link. I'm going to click OK, and it's not going to load. It would have normally worked if we did not change our port, but because we changed it, we need to add the colon 8812, and now it works. All right, but I don't like Eclipse. I prefer to run it through my browser. So you would see me running it through my browser, and you'll see me using Sublime often. So that's it for the video, and with the next video we'll probably start with some other stuff. So any comments or suggestions about the audio or what I should do or maybe how I speak, we'll address it in the next video, right? So that's it. Thanks.